Welcome to the Stateless Standard, where we thrust the golden torch into the psychedelic fog of the 60s counterculture, scorching the myths of flower-powered innocence to reveal the grime beneath. Today, we unravel the tale of Vito Paulekas and his freakers, the self-proclaimed progenitors of hippiedom, a troupe of gyrating grotesques who danced their way into the heart of Laurel Canyon's rock pantheon. Were they visionary vanguards of liberation, or cynical puppeteers exploiting runaways and rock dreams for a front-row seat to the freak show? From the dives of the Sunset Strip to the shadows of child tragedy and Manson's Echo, this is a saga as colorful as it is corrosive. Strap on your love beads, or perhaps a straitjacket, as we dissect the dance with educational exactitude and the disdain it so richly deserves. Our story slithers back to the underbelly of mid-century America, where Vytautas Alphonsus Paulekas, Vito to his acolytes, entered the world on May 20th, 1913, in Lowell, Massachusetts, the son of a Lithuanian sausage maker named John and his wife Rose. With siblings Albana, Bronislaw, and John, young Vito's path veered from the family charcuterie toward reform school by his teens, courtesy of petty crimes that earned him 18 months in the clink. Adulthood brought armed robbery in 1938, a bungled theater heist netting a 25-year bid, from which he slithered free by 1942, funneled into the U.S. Merchant Marine for wartime lend-lease drudgery. Washing up in Los Angeles around 1946, Vito vanished into obscurity until the early 60s, when he resurfaced as a self-taught sculptor in a dingy studio at 303 Laurel Avenue, just below the canyon's bohemian bubble. There, amid the clay dust, he peddled lessons to Beverly Hills housewives, drawing oddballs like Jonathan Winters, Mickey Rooney, and Steve Allen, a motley court for his delusions of grandeur. Painter, poet, dancer, photographer, Vito claimed the Renaissance man's mantle, yet left scant canvas to prove it. Enter his muse and much younger bride, Sue, née Sue-Ann C. Schaffer, wed on July 7, 1961, when Vito was 48 and she a tender 18, rumors whispered 16 at first blush. Their union birthed Godot on December 1, 1963, a name evoking Beckett's absurdism, fitting for the farce to come. Later progeny included Groovy Nipple in 67, BP in 69, Sky in 71, and Freakus Magicus in 74, before the inevitable Northern California divorce in 75. But the Freakers' genesis predated domesticity. A roving pack of 35 or so dancers, crash pad communalists, and fashion anarchists, presided over by Vito and his sidekick Carl Franzoni. Carl, born around 1934 in Cincinnati to a mother who fancied herself a countess and a father carving monuments from Italian quarries, perhaps kin to the Franzoni brothers who chiseled the Capitol Dome, cut his teeth as a hoodlum before peddling mail-order breast and penis pumps in LA with partner Joe Scalacci. Hooking up with Vito circa 1963, Carl donned a black cape as Captain Fuck, a moniker that encapsulated the troupe's ethos. Free-form frolics bordering on orgiastic seizure, all in service to some vague cosmic groove. The Freakers themselves? A carnival of pseudonyms and peculiarities. Rory Flynn, Errol's wild child daughter, Ricky Applebaum, sporting a half-moustache, half-beard abomination, Linda Bop Butchie, Beetle Bob, Emerald, Karen Yum Yum, plus periphery players like Gail Sloatman, future Mrs. Frank Zappa, and producer Kim Fowley. They squatted in crash pads ripe for runaways, especially impressionable young women, staging sex orgies and debuting Sue's boutique threads. The garish garb that would birth the hippie uniform. Barry Miles, in his tome Hippie, dubs them Hollywood's, perhaps the world's, first true hippies. Arthur Lee of Love crowed, "We started the whole hippie thing. Vito, Carl, Sue, Beetle Bob, Brian, and me." Chris Hillman of the Byrds echoed, "Carl and all those guys were way ahead of everyone on hippiedom fashion." Even Ray Manzarek of the Doors recalled them as guys named Carl and Vito who had a dance troupe of gypsy freaks, quintessential hippies. Cynical caveat: in an era peddling peace as product, the Freakers were less liberationists than living advertisements, a human light show to lure the lemmings to the strip. By the early 60s, the Freakers had refined their act. An epileptic seizure set to music, as one observer quipped, performed in seedy dives to local R&B and the gauchos, for white bands and Sunset Strip clubs were yet unborn. Then, 1964, the Whiskey A Go Go flings open its doors in January, courtesy of promoter Elmer Valentine. The trip follows in spring '65. Ciro's reboots late '64 into early '65. The freakers descend like a Paisley plague, their unhinged undulations drawing gawking crowds, earning comped entry as club royalty. John Hartman, a strip impresario, confessed, "If they're the essence of hippiedom and you're trying to be a hippie nightclub, you need hippies." Kim Fowley, that silver-tongued Svengali, nailed the hustle. A band didn't have to be good, as long as the dancers were there. Gail Zappa later admitted, "The customers came to see the freaks dance." Frank Zappa himself credited them. They were dancing in a way nobody had seen before. Gave life to everything. Educational interlude. This was symbiosis with a sinister slant. The freakers as canaries in the cultural coal mine, validating the nascent scene while masking the mediocrity of the minstrels. Rehearsals at Vito's pad birthed the Byrds, Alban Busterster. Vito actually got the Byrds together, did a lot of rehearsing at his pad. Loves Arthur Lee jammed there too. Jim Dixon, the Byrds' manager, lured them to Ciro's. We had Vito and his freakers. The result? Buzz begat bookings. The strip's revival owed less to melody than to mayhem. Influence radiated. The Buffalo Springfield Turtles' Lovin' Spoonful, all buoyed by the freakers' freak flag. Barry Miles noted the Byrds' close association with Vito's antics enlivening early gigs. Barney Hoskins described them as a roving troupe, led by ancient beatnik Vito Paulekas and Carl Franzoni. Vito and Carl even guested on Zappa's landmark Freak Out, their howls immortalized on Hungry Freak's Daddy, dedicated to the troupe. Exploitation cinema cashed in. Mondo Bizarro, 66, Something's Happening, 67, Mondo Hollywood, 67, You Are What You Eat, 68, the latter starring Crosby, Zappa, Tiny Tim. Vito popped up in The White Horse Gang, 72, on You Bet Your Life, The Joe Pine Show, flanked by bare-breasted starlets in scandal rags, and Carson's Tonight Show. Even toddler Godot graced Life magazine in 66. Carl wormed onto a 68 Dick Clark special. Yet beneath the celluloid sparkle lurked the sleaze. Bands, often lackluster live, studio wizardry their salvation, relied on the freakers as diversionary dazzle. Fowley schemed. Jim Dixon had the idea to put them on at Ciro's. The freaks would show up and the Byrds would be their Beatles. A calculated carnival, where authenticity was the first casualty. The Laurel Canyon nexus deepened the depravity. Post-68, Vito fled to Haiti and Jamaica, no U.S. extradition havens, after scandals too sordid for print, staging sex scenes with 12-year-olds, per Pamela Des Barres, who also chronicled Vito's wacky photo session amid Godot's fatal fall. Ah yes, the boy. On December 23, 1966, 3-year-old Godot plummeted to his death, tails clashing like bad trips, through a trapdoor off a scaffold via skylight. Pfisterer whispered acid dosing, Raphael a naked sensuality circle, Des Barres tied it to a photo shoot gone awry. Vito's laconic eulogy, he died today. The parents, back to Dancing by Dusk. San Francisco Weekly linked it to Kenneth Anger's Lucifer Rising quest. Anger scouting Godot as his boy star, only to pivot to Bobby Beausoleil after the plunge. Beausoleil, of course, Manson's would-be hitman, later jailed for Hinman's murder. Cynical calculus. In the name of liberation, a child becomes collateral, peddled as cosmic coincidence, while the gurus grind on. Enter the echoes of evil. The Log Cabin, a treehouse commune on Robert Byrd's spread, hosted the freakers post-Vito's decampment. Zappa commandeered it in May '68 as Mother's Auxiliary. Manson's family slithered in later, inheriting the vibe. Parallels plague, Vito's prison stint mirroring Charlie's. Guru claims over artistry, elderly ringleaders with underage entourages, Black Cape theatrics, God of Fuck versus Captain Fuck, sex spectacles sans scruples, drugs for the flock, sobriety for the shepherd. The Process Church convoy rolled through LA in March and May-June '68, capes flapping like bad omens. Kim Fowley, that Fagin of the scene, loomed large. Abandoned progeny of actor Douglas Fowley, Malibu-raised hustler, National Guard dropout, novelty hitmaker Alley-Oop Papa Momo, he produced Vito's '66 single Where It's At with Mother Session Men and Gail's America's Sweetheart. Fowley's crowning sleaze? The Runaways in '75, Jailbait in Leather, whispers of sexual quid pro quos. His childhood confessional, fondled at 6.5 in Schwab's drugstore, candy cigarette in hand. Fowley even helmed Gene Vincent's swan song I'm Back and I'm Proud, '69, with Linda Ronstadt crooning, Vincent rupturing an ulcer unto death in '71, squeezed by mob-tied Don Arden. Later chapters, Vito resurfaced in Cotati, California, feted like faded royalty, perhaps even mayor, lecturing at Sonoma State. He shuffled off on October 10, 1992. A Samhain memorial followed. Carl Franzoni wormed onto the Gong Show as Worm Dancers, toured in 2002 as King of the Freaks. The Log Cabin torched on Halloween '81, Ashes to Ashes. Zao shed the beads for straighter shores. Groovy succumbed to the bottle and blow. Skeptical summation. For all its tie-dye dazzle, the Freakers' fable is counterculture rebranded as cautionary, profound in its pretense, profane in its predations. Vito and his cadre critiqued conformity while cultivating cults, peddling freedom as farce. A hierarchy of the haze where the torch of transgression singes the innocent first. Charming in its chaos, only if you ignore the cribside craters. Calculated to the last lewd leer. That's our hallucinatory hike through Vito Paulekas and his Freakers, a 60s sideshow where liberation lurched into lament. If this unmasked your Maharishi myths, subscribe to the Stateless Standard for more merciless myth-busting. Comment below. Cosmic coincidence or calculated con? Like, share, and return as we illuminate another illusion of the age. Until then, dance if you must, but mind the trapdoors. Stay skeptical, stay stateless, stay free.